Music for this episode of About to Break is provided by Cat Beach Music. Whether you're looking to score an entire film or just need to find the perfect vibe for your next commercial project, our friends Bobby and Jen Hartree have what you're looking for. Check them out today at catbeachmusic.com. Hello, friends, and happy Wednesday. As I am recording this, I am preparing, and by saying I'm preparing, I'm way behind schedule. I'm leaving in just a couple hours here to go on the longest run so far of my performing career. I'm doing 6 weeks in Branson, Missouri. Now, the 6 weeks, it may sound like a lot to you, it may not sound like a lot to you. It is actually, when I added it up, it is 144 different shows that I will be doing in a 6-week period, which is crazy because a few years ago, that's more shows than I did in an entire year. And now I'm going to be doing that in 6 weeks. So part of me is really nervous. Part of me is really excited because I know, there's nothing like doing the thing over and over that makes you better at it. You can study all day long. You can write all day long. You can create all day long. But there is nothing like putting a performance in front of an audience that really, it takes it to a new level. Last night I did 2 shows. It was at the Hollywood Improv for Andrew Delman's Definitely Not Star Search, which is such a fun show, man. And then I went from there to Magic Monday in Santa Monica. And even just doing one show right after another that close together, there's nothing like having an idea and going, oh man, I can put this on stage again in 30 minutes. And so I'm excited. I'm really excited. The whole family's coming with me. We're making a road trip out of it. We're debating going to the Grand Canyon. I know it sounds kind of crazy. Like, why would you not go to the Grand Canyon when you're that close? But so we'll see. We'll see if we do that. We are on our way tomorrow, heading to Branson, Missouri. Going to spend a few weeks with our friends, the Coast family in Oklahoma along the way. And just really try to make memories. When I started this podcast, part of the idea with it was documenting the journey that we're all on. And I'd love someday for my kids to be able to listen to this and kind of hear the thought process of the insanity of the life that we lived. I love that we're going to go live at a theme park for 6 weeks. I think that's crazy. It sounds absolutely insane. And at the same time, sounds absolutely wonderful. I'm so excited for the chaos that's about to ensue, for the unpredictable, unplanned, unable to organize or structure aspect of this trip. And yet I know that we're going to make memories that will hopefully last a lifetime. So anyway, if I sound delirious, it's because I'm very tired and I haven't even started packing. And I can't fathom all the things that I need with me for 7 weeks. But we're going to do it. And right now, I'm very excited to have on the program this week. You guys are in for a treat. I've got Niels Duinker, originally from the Netherlands, an amazing juggler, 3 different Guinness World Records that he holds. And this podcast was a great one. It was real. I always say this is not a how-to guide. It's not a how to break into the industry. It's really more of a survival guide for the insanity that is life in entertainment. And yet, talking with Niels, I was reminded again and again of the things that really help support a life like this. And, his hustle is insane. I'm not trying to be cliche and talk about a hustle, but the truth is, this guy works hard and it pays off. And he's always looking to what is the next thing. And it challenged me. It encouraged me. We talk about that in the show. I know you're going to enjoy it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the About to Break podcast, my conversation with the amazing, the incredible, the gravity-defying juggling of Niels Duinker.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Something is about to break.
Hey everybody, welcome to About to Break. I'm your host, Taylor Hughes, and this week, via the power of the internet, I am sitting down with my new friend, Juggler Niels Duinker. How are you, Niels?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, thank you, man. This is one we've been talking about for a while, and both of us being, full-time entertainers, our schedules are somewhat chaotic. So I'm glad that we figured out a way to make it happen.
Yeah, it's good to be working, so it's good.
Yes, it's always good to be working. Now let's start at the beginning. I mean, you're originally from Holland, is that right?
Yeah, that's true. I'm from the Netherlands, and I moved to Tennessee 3 years ago.
Yeah, so there's a lot to talk about there because Tennessee very different from the Netherlands.
Yes, yeah, not just in the Netherlands the lack of mountains. There's a couple more differences.
Yeah, absolutely. How has Tennessee been treating you so far?
Yeah, it's great. Like you have a theater here. It's called the Comedy Barn Theater, and it's a family friendly variety show. And then the owner of that theater really liked my act and invited me to be part of the show. So I'm doing a show 6 days a week here for 33 years. And yeah, so far I'm really liking it.
Wow. It's a 3-year contract, you said?
It's just like ongoing.
Okay.
The show has been going on for 24 years. And
Wow.
it's a very popular show. People like it a lot.
Right.
And,
yeah. That's in Pigeon Forge, right?
Yep. So it's Dollywood is the main attraction in this town. But a lot of tourists come for the Smoky Mountains. And then there's a town where all the tourists can see shows and go to the theme park and do all fun stuff. And the Comedy Barn is one of those attractions in the town.
That's awesome, man. Had you been to the States much before then, or was this?
The first time I was in the US was 2004.
Okay.
And that was for a juggling convention. And then I've been, like maybe 20 times since. So, and I got my work visa like 9 years ago.
Okay.
And then I was still doing cruise ships a lot. But sometimes I was in the US for shows, like sometimes a corporate show or sometimes a fair or something else. And then I did cruises for 8 or 9 years. And
Okay.
but I got a little tired of all the traveling around. And then I was like, okay. And too, like with this show, like I can practice in the morning, do the show. So it's like, yeah, there's much more opportunities to get better and do more of what I actually want to do, why I got into this business for.
Yeah.
It was not for traveling and for paperwork. So it's like, okay, great. I can do a little less traveling, a little less paperwork, and more shows.
Right.
So
yeah, a lot of people
that's
don't realize,
great.
the cruise industry, it's great, it's steady work, but it's you spend a lot of time sitting around.
Yes, and that I don't mind so much because it gives you opportunity to study something and see new places. But the annoying thing with a juggler, you need the height to practice, and especially like if
Cruise
I like
ship
to juggle 5 or 7 or even more. And if you do little stuff like cigar boxes and hats, you can maintain that in your cabin, although it's a bit annoying. But like if you want to do the real good stuff, you need the height. And then also you need a height with proper lighting. And then
Right.
so the theater is empty like very often still. And so you go into the theater, but then there's like this light saving mode. It's like not the bright light that you need. So every time you juggle it, it's just a thrill of the prop instead of like spotting in an instant where the prop is. So it's
Right.
very annoying. It makes the trick more difficult. So I got a little tired of that. I was like, I didn't get into juggling so I can, like be on a moving platform
Right.
in semi-dark and trying to keep up my skills.
Right. Now, I may have been incorrect in my reading of this, but is one of your world records having to do with being blindfolded while juggling?
I did then 6.5 minutes blindfolded juggling. That was in 2011. It was kind of funny. There was one theme park in China booked me for a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, this is really fun." I said to the Chinese producer, I was like, "How can you get me back? Like, how can I get more gigs through?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, with the Chinese people, it would be great if you get some Guinness World Record because with juggling, how can you compare one juggler to another?"
Right.
It's very difficult. So it's like, if I go to my clients, you have like a Guinness World Record. It's like we Chinese people, we like records, we like, brands, and in the US too, like they like competitions and medals and awards. In Europe, a little less, but like it's still good. If you have those, then it's easier for an agent to say like, okay, this guy's really good because he has these awards. So it's like, okay. So I just I went to the website from Guinness World Records, started practicing. And then I set that record for the first one. And then since I've set more. And it's actually kind of cool. Like here in this area, I live in Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
And in Gatlinburg, there is a Guinness World Records Museum.
Oh,
And,
wow.
So it's kind of cool. So one of my cups, because I did 14 cups last year,
Right.
shaker cup juggling. And one of those cups and one ball that I used for another record, they put it in the display. And it's kind of cool because now people that come to the show, like all the kids, they go,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is amazing. We heard you have this record." And it's like, yeah. And if you do more attractions, if you go to the Guinness World Records Museum, look for one of these props. You will find it on display in one of the stands. So
Right.
it's kind of cool, that kind of cross promotion too. Like, the people in the museum, like, the performers in the show, and then vice versa. So it's kind of neat.
That is so cool, man. And now take me back to when you first started. Like, how did you? I'm always fascinated with how people got into what they got into. Like for me, most magicians get a magic kit when they're a kid. When was the first time you saw juggling or were introduced to it?
So I was, in Rotterdam, you used to have the annual International Street Performing Festival.
Okay.
So all the really good street performers from all over the world, they came there, like, and I went there every year with my dad. So I was like, that's really cool. I really like the juggling. And at the same time, I was like, playing table tennis, and I really like the precision of, like, really aiming a ball like right on one spot of the table.
Yeah.
So I really like when I was throwing stuff just to go for the precision. And then juggling is that, but like on steroids. It's like, okay. Then at one point I saw juggling. I was like, hey, that's cool. I wanna try that. But then I didn't know how to do it. So I was 8. I tried a couple times in my backyard, and my mom snapped a photo of it. So I put that in the book that we sell at the Comedy Barn.
Yeah.
So it's really cool for the kids because they go, "Oh, you see, like, how old are you? You're 8 years old."
And that was like the first time you were trying it was 8 years old.
Yeah, like I was like, this is me when I was 8 years old. And then I didn't know how to do it. So it wasn't until 12 that it was a little bit of a hype in the Netherlands.
Okay.
So like a couple stores, like the better toy stores, they were selling juggling clubs and some better balls and stuff. So then I bought a set of that, and then I found a book in the library, and then I noticed that my friend's dad, he juggled as a hobby. So it kind of came together. So I just pieced together the piece of information to learn how to juggle. And then like half a year later, I joined the kids circus in Rotterdam. And
wow.
Then it was kind of cool. Like every Friday night, then for 2 hours, like 30 kids from around the city. We came together and then started working on acts. And at the end of the season, you had like a little theater show with the group. So it was it was really cool. And then with one of my friends from that circus group, then we went street performing like downtown Rotterdam. So every Saturday when we could, we started street performing. And so I was 13 when I started doing little shows. It was only because it's all like, okay, these juggling props, if you're a kid, they're pretty expensive.
Right.
And my parents were like, oh, if you really want it, you can save up for them. I'm not going to buy them for you. Just like, they just want to test me how badly I wanted it.
Right.
So then we just started street performing. And I remember one time, it was like a couple bouncing balls. It was like, they're like $50. I was like, okay, I will go street performing. And by the end of the afternoon, I will just come back and we'll pay them. And then I did it. I was like 14 or 15. So the shop owner had a laugh off it. It was kind of cool.
Isn't it weird, man? Like, I mean, I was doing like birthday parties when I was a kid and like performing out in front of the movie theater, doing like street performing. And it's weird to be like 13, 14 years old and have a job where you make pretty decent money. You know, like,
we had it down for a little bit. We had it down pretty well. We knew like if we go street performing or like me by myself, like I had to be there at 1, and then after 2:30 it was not good anymore. So that pitch was good for that time slot, but also I knew that I was making about $30 in that hour and a half.
Right.
But like compared to my friends that worked in the supermarket just stocking stuff, they have to work for that an entire day. So we had a couple times that we just go, okay, we go there, we have to be sure we're there at 1. And then at 2:30, we have all that money, so we can go get an ice cream. Then we walk to the park, and then we just juggle for fun,
right,
until like 5 p.m. Then we have to go home for dinner.
Were you making friends with the other street performers? Like, did you?
It was only me or me and him. It was not that many.
So how did you learn the pitch? Like, because there's the idea of going out and performing, then there's the idea of getting people to give you money.
In the beginning, like I just juggled there. Like basically, you just got paid to practice.
Right.
I was just, and then like a little bit of interaction, but like actually, I was more in the first couple of years. I was more interested to juggle, so I was just juggling there. With a head in front of me.
I'm either practicing at home or I'm practicing out here. I might as well do it outside and.
Yeah, like a little, like you. Of course, when you practice there in public, you cannot drop as much. But it's like, okay, these are the tricks that I already have down a little bit.
Right.
So if I just drill them there, then And I was like 14, so I was not that good at the audience interaction. But like then also you have the cuteness factor still
Right.
going on. So yeah, that was good.
When we were in the UK, there was this little guy. He was probably like 12, and he was playing, but he was tiny. He was small for a 12-year-old, and he was playing harmonica, and he wasn't actually playing it. He was just making noise with the harmonica.
Yeah.
And it was solely because he was a cute little kid. He was just getting tons of money in his little case there.
Nice.
And I was like, dude, this kid's working it.
Yeah. So I was thinking like, okay, now then you get money on your cuteness factor. At one point it goes, so then you need to be good. But I was like, if I'm, like a teenager, you can get away with that. But then, also you started young enough. So it's like by the time that I need to be good, I have had 5 or 10 years of experience,
right,
to be better. So it's like the same like with booking gigs just for clients. It's like I was always thinking like, what do you expect? You're doing business with a child. Like that was my answer if it was going wrong, but it never went wrong. But I was like, that was my if they would go like, oh, that's too much, or like, oh, you did this. Like, what do you, like, I don't know. Like, you're an adult. I don't know. Like, I just do my best.
Oh, yeah.
But I never had to say that because it always worked out. And it was kind of funny, too. Like, the first headliner spot on the cruise ships that I did, I was 23 when I did my first show there. And, but then it was very sweet. Like, on the Royal Caribbean, then all the state staff, they thought, like, oh, he's just 23, 24, 25. So he probably doesn't have that much experience. So we're going to help him out. So like I came with my, my suitcase, like the Pelican case, and my prop builder. We designed like a really cool system with some couple legs. They go in the case when I travel with them, and then they come out, and then in the little space that you have in the back of the suitcase.
Yep.
It slides in, so it becomes a table, and then you do a cloth around it, and it looks really good. And then I have like an LED poster with my logo that's glowing, so like it looks actually really good. And also, like when I get out the ship, like all the passengers go, "How did you fit your entire show in there?"
Right,
because
right.
I was like, you were looking at this piece of luggage the entire time you did the show, and they just didn't recognize it.
Yeah,
but like they didn't know that, so like they would come with tables like right away. And it's like, dude, like if you give me, just give me 10 minutes to set up the thing,
right.
Like don't assume just because I'm 23. Like I've done by that time, 10 years of shows from like really crappy ones to the nice cruise ships. It's like I've done it for 10 years. I got booked here for a reason. So give me 10 minutes and I will give you the few sheets, and you see that I'm not as like I might be 10, 20 years younger than any of the other headliners that you have. But like it will work. Trust me.
Yeah, you get that stare of when you roll in with the one suitcase and they go, "Where's the rest of your stuff? Do you need help?" Or even corporates, and they're like, "That's all you're bringing?" It's like, trust me, it's going to be fine.
Yeah. And that's the great thing. That's what I love with juggling. Like because if you throw the objects high in the air, like if you do a big pattern,
oh yeah,
you still fill the stage. So it's like become almost like a little bit of a set piece.
Right.
Like it's instead of me, just one person standing in the middle of a big stage, and some of the stages on the ships are really really big. But like and then they have the UV light and then the LED stuff.
Yeah, there's so much you can do with lighting now. It's incredible.
So and I love it too. Like the LED, like the juggling rings, the plastic glows under the UV light.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like, okay, if I with the lighting, if I do like a smaller, like maybe one time a special, one time like a full stage, one time UV light, one time a blackout.
Right.
Like but the production shows they have that all the time. But like if it's just they assume like a juggling show, like you have one wash.
Right.
And then you're going to talk and do a couple tricks and small ones. It's like, no, like it could be something else too.
Now, when you go from a theater like the one you're working in, or a cruise ship that's got full lighting and, an amazing proscenium and all that, and you end up in a corporate ballroom and they've just got a wash, how much does that impact your show?
Not as much. Like I like one article, my friend Jeff McBride, he explained, he's like had different, there's different levels. It's like you have the structure of your show.
Right.
And then all the lighting and stuff, it makes it just cooler. So like one time too, like on the Carnival ship, like their lighting board crashed, and then we only had 5 minutes. But it's like, if you can give me one wash and give me one blackout, I can do it.
Right.
It will be a better experience with all the bells and whistles to it. But like, like that's what I think too. If your show just only works, because of the cool lighting. I mean, I'm not talking about like if you do magic and you do black art and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I understand. But like if you're just a comedy juggler like me,
right?
Like if I need all the videos and all the stuff just to make it work, then probably my stage persona is not strong enough.
Yeah.
So I have bigger problems.
Yeah, man, that's interesting. You know, I use a lot of music in my show and different cues and things, and you get to a certain point where you're like, oh man, I like having all of that stuff. And then I've done a show recently where I showed up and it was, you know, they said they were going to have all the production and they had none of it.
Yeah.
like they didn't even have they didn't even rent the gear they needed to rent. So I was just like, okay, we're just going to go old school. And I had so much fun. Like, I didn't have music cues. I didn't have fancy lighting. It was just me and the audience. And it kind of takes you back to, like, you know, like those street performing days of like, oh, this is what built the show.
It's great. I think kind of, for me, I've done enough street performing to understand, to do a good job. So if I get booked at a street festival, I can do it. But I've not done too much. So like now when I do it, like this gig here in Tennessee or a cruise ship, it's not like a street show on stage. So, and also, like, I just remember like one variety theater I did in Germany, but it was a show and the producer was 94 years old.
Oh, wow.
And he has been doing that show for 60 years. But like the lighting, it was just pretty much one wash.
Wow. And this is how we've always done it.
Yeah, very, very basic. But then, like all the acts, if you go over well there, you just need to be really good because you have no lighting and special effects to hide behind.
Right.
So and also the German audience, those guys that came to those shows, I've been to his show like for 30 years or something. It was like older audiences. But I've seen those shows, like, and really good performers, like from Felix Adanos to Victor Key, like big names in the juggling world. They all have been there like in those 60 years. So they know. So if you're not good, if nothing to hide, you're just gonna fall flat.
Right. Yeah, it's wild, the different audiences who have been exposed to, you know, even cruise ship audiences. They see shows constantly because generally people who go on one cruise go on multiple ones. Yeah. So, you know, that's why magicians, it's like if you're going to go out there and do a appearing, you know, bowling ball from Sketchpad and a floating table, they've already seen all this stuff. You got to do something unique and different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Like, and with juggling, it's interesting too. Balls, clubs, rings. That's pretty much what everybody juggles. So it's hard to put some variety in that one. I'm lucky with one. So Freddie Kenton, he is now 81 years old, and he's been juggling for over 60 years.
Wow!
And he had one trick, the shaker cups. The one that's also now in the Guinness World Records Museum. Yeah. But like, not all jugglers do that because you cannot buy any of those good cups in the store. So that's what now. Like, I added that to the show, so that's a little bit different. So it's nice that you can come somewhere and still do a good level. I do 8 or 10 with those in the show. So that's a big prop. So like, if you tell people, hey, 10, they don't know much about juggling. They know nothing about juggling. So like, oh, this guy did a lot, so he must be good.
Right.
Oh, and then they go like, oh, it's still juggling because it's a lot that flies through the air, but it's different than the balls, the clubs, and the ring. So when you go to a place like a cruise ship where they're very used to working with jugglers, it's nice to have a couple different props, like enough of the balls, clubs, and rings so it's familiar with them, and they don't go, oh, this is too much unusual. We don't know our venue. But then still give them some different stuff that they go, okay, yeah, this guy is a little bit different than the other ones. It's good, like, because, you know, our guests, they come here for unique experiences and stuff they've never seen.
Right.
And then they go. So then, it's a good balance point. So I was looking for a couple of those tricks.
And then did you start, like, so you're doing street performing, and then what was like your first, you know, paid gig when you had a client who actually paid you to come? Did you do the birthday party thing? Were you doing corporates when you were younger? Like, what was that first time you were like, oh, I'm actually getting paid legitimate money?
I thought it was legitimate money, but it was not. Like, I thought it was, I was just practicing, like at the playground around my house. And then one of my neighbors, just a couple blocks over, he went, oh, we have like a barbecue. You want to perform? How much do you charge?
That's awesome.
So then I went there, and then actually I remember doing like a 20-minute show and just like trying to be funny. There's like just trying to be one of the street performers that I saw at the street performing festival. And so the Netherlands is not really a tipping culture. So I asked for like $7 and he gave me 10.
Yeah.
So I thought I was like, oh, I
You're
must be
like,
really,
oh man, $10.
yeah, I was like, I must be really, really good because it gave me half
Right.
more than what I
Right.
charged. And then, but then from that one, one of the audience members, he had a coloring contest at the local kids hospital.
Okay.
So I could perform at the award ceremony. They got a goodie bag for the winner of the coloring contest for the sick kids. So I performed there, and then I did some balloon sculpting. So then I got $100 because I need to cover my expenses. And the guy that run the juggling shop is like, no, you need to charge a little more. If you go there 3 hours with the balloons and everything, just charge $100. And they go, so I got $100, and then I did so all those kind of beginning gigs that are, if you look back at it, they're kind of fun.
Oh yeah. I remember I was charging like $25 for birthday parties. And my friend, this older guy at the magic shop one day, he's like, oh, I got a call about a gig. And he's like, and I said, I think I'm going to charge $50.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you charge $125. And I said, what? And he's like, here, let me call her. So he calls her and he's like, hi, I'm here. I work with Taylor and you do a great job. Your show. It's $125. Okay, great. And I was just mind blown. Like, I just couldn't fathom that kind of money for a magic show.
Yeah, one time I got it was a kind of strolling gig because one of the it was a government project.
Okay.
And it was like a building, and they wanted to it was like the opening day, and so they booked me there. It was like a train station kind of thing. So I just had to perform there, and I charged them 100. I was like, oh, this is legit. Is the government? I can charge them 165. And it was for 2 hours. Yeah. But then they paid the invoice twice. And I was like, oh, this feels like a rip-off. But then I tried to return it, but it was the government, and there were so many people, so it was impossible for me to reach somebody. It's like, hey guys, you paid me twice,
right?
So so it's like, oh, they paid $330, and they're still not complaining. So maybe next time I should ask $200 for a gig.
Oh man, that's hilarious. How are strolling gigs for you? I have a few friends who are jugglers and they've got their own thoughts on it. I know some magicians love strolling and some, like me, prefer to not do it.
Okay. Yeah, right now it's maybe once a year that I do them. And then but then it's different setups too. I think I've gotten really good at them.
Okay.
Even to the point, if they had if it's not a big room and I had to do that 4 hours because I was booked in a group with a couple of close magicians.
Yep.
I still manage, but that's good because I can do the contact juggling too.
Oh so, yeah.
I have a structure now. If I do those, I just if it's a party, I just come, and then when the people arrive at the party, I just juggle at the door, just a little act, and I don't juggle all the time. I just make sure that people see me. Then I do a little act. Then I just greet them, welcome to the party. Just gonna have fun. Just go inside, blah blah blah. And I do that for maybe half an hour to an hour. Okay. And then when everybody's inside, then I do the contact juggling, and everybody always wants to try it. And then it's more like one-on-ones. It's more like a small, it's almost more like close-up magic. Yep. And then I can do that for an hour, 2 hours if I have to do it long. And at the end, then I do the ball juggling. So it's more like little shows for small, for people, a small group of people.
Yeah, and you structure it so you're breaking up that time. You're not doing the same thing for 2 hours.
I did when I was in college. I did there was a theater restaurant in Rotterdam, and they booked me once or twice a week for 5 years. And the evening was 4 hours, and you had to do some entertainment at the tables, and then you had your own set in the stage area. Right. So I had to do both, but there's so much stage time with the strolling, so I think I've gotten pretty good at it that way. But right now, I love with Barry Friedman from Showbiz Blueprint, the Rustini brothers. He's just like diapers. At one point, you grow out of them. Right. I mean, if you want to do them, and some guys, it's different if you do strolling at a shopping mall, and some guys are very successful and they love it, so it's great. And some guys, if you do strolling at a private clients, maybe in suites for 5-star hotels. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's different too. So it's it's not that I go. That's too. If people call me you want to do a birthday party, it's different between a birthday party for a 3-year-old, where it's going to be the birthday party of some rich
Right.
corporate clients. So like for me, like a lot of people go, I don't do birthday parties. Like, well, if it's just depending what kind. If they have a proper stage and proper setting, it's just the
Right.
type of event, and it's you cannot write it off completely, because if you do that, sometimes you write off really good gigs just because you're a little cocky.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, not thinking that you're too good to do certain things.
Same like theaters, like performing arts centers. You have big ones, you have small ones.
Right.
Some shows need a certain amount of seats just to cover their costs. So you don't know.
Yeah, that's good. You talked about people, like when you're doing contact juggling, people want to try it. Have you noticed once people try it and realize how hard it is, do they respond more when they see you doing it?
Yeah, then they usually want to see it again, which is great for me, because those kind of things, if you go, oh, that's a lot of time for a small group like that. So then you get like a minute showing, then you get like a couple minutes just talking with them.
Right.
And then they want to try it again. But also I always make a point, like they was like, hey, you guys want to try it? This is me when I just, like when I was 12, this is how I started.
Right. Oh,
and then, and then I always, you have some more bits of business with, like it's, they go, is it magnets? Is it a string? And then you go, yeah, be careful. Like, if maybe you have a metal ring or something that's going to stick, or, like be careful for your hair.
Right.
Because if it's like a balloon, and then you have all this like stupid jokes, but like that all adds to the entertainment, because they don't care too much about the trick. They care about the entertainment. So it adds to the entertainment, but also it travels light, and it adds a lot of time, and it adds to the connection between you and the group. And it just builds atmosphere. So it's a win-win.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of the About to Break podcast. 3 quick ways that you can help us out here at About to Break. The first one is to go on iTunes and leave us a review. If you enjoy the program, please leave us a 5-star review. Big thank you to everyone who's already done that. If you haven't yet, please jump over to iTunes. You'll need your iTunes account information. But you can click on the podcast, leave us a 5-star review. Just leave us a 1 or 2 sentence little blurb there. Let people know what you like about it. That helps us out huge. Second way you can help us at About to Break is by becoming a producer. Our goal is to have 1,000 people giving at least $1 a month to help offset the cost of producing these shows. And it does take time. And it is a passion project. I will continue putting these out for free because I think it's a helpful conversation. But anything you can do to help us out by producing the show would be awesome. Go over to abouttobreakpodcast.com, click on Become a Producer, and see what that's all about. Last thing that you can do, and this one is also a real simple way of making a difference, is just sharing the podcast. All right, when you see it out there on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, go ahead and follow along and then share it with your friends. Let someone else know how much you liked it, because it sure does make a difference. All right, back to the program. Okay, so when you first started doing like longer shows, you book a cruise at 23, was that the longest amount of time at that point that you had done, or were you already doing like a, 45 or an hour?
Everything has grown kind of gradually.
Right.
So when I was one point, I got better with the street shows, and then it was also the economy was doing pretty well around that time. So there was more like shopping malls, cities that were throwing festivals. There was a lot of like street performing festivals around, like smaller ones, and they were always in the weekend. So I did college from Monday to Friday.
Okay.
And then I knew like Saturday was actually cool, because there was this website, and I could figure out like, okay, those kind of festivals are in the first 2 weeks of June. Those are in the second 2. And then it kind of started from April until October. So I just wrote to those festivals. Like, okay, you have this lineup. You probably are looking for entertainment for next year.
Yeah.
My show. And so actually I could figure out like, okay, this weekend I don't have a festival yet, or I don't have a booking. Right. And then I was writing to them, and then they were like 3. So it was a good chance that 1 out of 3 wanted me, and if 2 wanted me, then I already had the one for next year. So it was really good. And the other good thing was I had to do a 30-minute show in those locations.
Yeah,
it was outside, just a microphone and a little PA. 30 minutes outside, and you just need to get her in the crowd. It was not as hard as just pure on the street, because it was a lineup, and some people already go, I want to see this show, I want to see that show.
Yep. Yeah, and then people are coming with the idea they're going to see entertainment
for 30 minutes, and you could see their facial expressions if they were into a routine or not.
Okay.
So, so that was great. So I was used to doing 30-minute shows like 3 or 4 times every week. So that was good to build that one. And then there was a theme park called House den Bosch. It's a Dutch-looking city.
Yeah.
in Japan. And then I remember a couple of my American entertainment friends, they got booked there because the Japanese people couldn't read Dutch. But I was like, I'm from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
This looks like the cities where I live. It's like, you should book me because I'm more like original. And then I filmed a little promo video, like me. So I went to a couple buildings that I knew they had at the theme park. And then I filmed the promo video right in front of that. And then I sent the video there. And then with a postcard from Amsterdam, I was like, can you just look at the video? Can you imagine me being at your theme park? And then they got a kick out of that, and they booked me there. And then I had to do was 24 shows a week for 3 months straight. Yeah. And then I used the promo video from that theme park. It was good because I did a 23-minute show on stage there for a Japanese speaking crowd. So you cannot, not talk any English.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
It
shows
was great.
You're working for an international audience. And
and it's the same time, like in 2004, the first time that I went to the US, all the American jugglers that were doing well, they were working the cruise ships.
Right.
And to me, it was like, this is kind of like if you have the variety shows in Germany, nice theaters, but there you cannot really talk. They expect something 7 minutes to music. I like the interaction, like the comedy.
Right.
But I don't like the wind from the street performing and everything. So if I got on a cruise ship, I can work in a nice place, but still do this style that I like to do. So it's the best of both worlds. And it was the same. That was 2008, and then cruise market was right before it started getting really big in Europe. So then I submitted the video from Japan to my cruise agent in the UK, and then the cruise lines were like, "Oh, this is great," because they have the feeling like all these people in Europe somehow they don't speak any English, so we need international acts. We don't have international acts. Like it's a big problem. And then they go, "Oh, but this guy." So I was like on Royal Caribbean right away.
Right.
The week after I graduated from college, boom, I was on Royal Caribbean. Yeah, it was great. And then they put me in my agent was smart. He put me in the farewell spot.
Okay.
So that was 23-minute spot. But then I had more luck because there was a 4-day cruise. So I got to do my acts like every 4 days.
Okay.
And they only had 3 or 4 nights of shows on the ship. So they said, okay, it's not a big problem if you do like a 35-minute spot.
Right.
So I could build my 23-minute spot over the time with more comedy to a 35-minute spot. And then at 35 minutes, and then on an American line was like in emergency, like for a cruise leaving out of the Netherlands. And so they need a little bit of a Dutch-speaking entertainer that could also appeal to the American crowds. And then so then they called me last minute. It's like, can you do like headliner spots? Like, I can stretch the 35 to probably 40 if I had one routine.
Right.
But then you have the benefit, and there's no other guy that was available and could speak Dutch. So that was my first
that was your foot in the door.
Yeah, and John Taylor helped me a lot. He was on the cruise ship like with me. So it was production show, John Taylor, production show, me, and
It's so cool with variety. I mean, magic and comedy and juggling. Like, it's great that even though our worlds are very different, there's also a lot that is similar as far as like how you book things and how you travel and how you work with clients. And it's so cool that like people across the board tend to be pretty open to sharing their experience and how to help one another. You know? Yeah,
he helped a lot. It was a great dynamic between the two of us. Like, and we're still like friends to this day. So I helped him film like his new video to sell at the shows, and he and him and the sound tech. Sound tech actually was a juggler too and a really good photographer. Yeah. So we after every show we just started all juggling because John can juggle too. So it was like a juggling convention every night after the shows. They packed up the show and we just started juggling for a couple hours in the theater.
Oh, that's so fun, man! That's so fun.
Yeah, that was really good. I think the first cruise ship contract was also the best one I did so far.
The very first one is your favorite?
Yeah, I think so. It was like I was there like on and off for like the entire summer season. Okay. And then just like between the sound tech and John, and we were like all juggling, and we are like helping each other with a promo video and like new countries. And it was also fun, like short cruises, so you got to do your show a lot. Yeah. So it was not so much waiting around. And then all the Scandinavians, they just were buying booze all the time. So really loud and good crowds. So it was fun.
Oh, that's great, man. Talk to me about, you say you did cruises for 9 years. Is that right?
Yeah, I started in, first booking I got was 2008. Actually, I think it was 8 years.
Okay.
So it was like, it was wild. It was good. I got like all over all 7 continents.
That's awesome,
Like,
man.
about like 8 different cruise lines. It was great. And it was like Dick Franco, another really legendary juggler. He emailed me right away. He's like, okay, make sure that you also save money. So I just start saving money. And then Freddie Kenton, he helped me with stock market and stuff. So I just started putting money away.
That's good, man.
Right from the start. So it was good. Like I got a lot of bookings. So I got my show up. So I got a lot of experience with that one. Got to save some money, start to invest money. So it was a good platform. It's like right away. I was on the right track. So I was very fortunate.
Where did that hustle come from? Like everything you've described, it's like, from being 14 on the streets doing street performing and then getting into corporates and cruise ships and all that. It sounds like you've just always had this drive of like, I got to push forward. Did that come from your family or just because you wanted to do it so bad? What pushed you to do all that?
I think if you, I like one quote. It's like if you do it, just really do it, or just really play the game, or just like what's the point otherwise? Like if you just half-ass something,
right?
It's like it's not as fun. Like it's the same like Daniel Fritsky in his book Showmanship for Magicians.
Yep.
Like what's the difference between a professional and amateur? It's like the amateur likes to do it, but the professional likes it so much that he just wants to dedicate his entire time to it.
Right.
So it's like, this is so much fun. Like, and that's too, there's so much different elements to it. Like between, so you do your show. So you have to, for me, like you have to do juggles. I really like to juggle. That's why I got into it. Is I wanted to juggle all the time. It's like, how can I be juggle all the time? It's like, if you're a professional juggler, you can juggle all the time. So that was, and then you need to make money with it. So then you have to learn the other skills. You have to be, learn how to promote yourself. So I was like, hey, marketing is kind of cool.
Right.
And then now I'm starting a production line of my own juggling props too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's so much, and now you have to market those. And I helped a little bit of marketing last year with a theater. So then you see that this overlay, in that areas too. But then that's too, like, I was like, all the stuff now you learn in school, like history, like it's just the more you know, the more you can pull from for your comedy.
Right.
It makes your show better. And like I like Richard Branson. I was when I went to fly to the cruise ship, I was listening to audiobooks and stuff, and he was just like, the way he runs his business is just, he loves to do it, and it's not like, okay, I'm working from 9 to 5. It's like, and he got in the middle of the night up for an idea, and he's like, oh, I want to start this project. Then he called a couple of his friends, that his business associates. It's like, oh, you want to help me with this one? Okay, cool, done. Like, okay, we're just not going to start it. So it's almost like, if you go like to your friends, like, hey, I have a great idea. It's Saturday. Like, I have a couple beers in my fridge. I want to go to the park. You guys want to come? You have some good times. And that's how he runs his business. And he's very smart about it. But that's the same like with the juggling. Like, it's like, sometimes it's like, hey, I want to go, one time, I really want to go and visit Korea. I was like, but I don't want to pay for Korea to visit Korea. Plus, if I'm there a tourist, I'd have nothing to do. So it's like, it will be much more fun if I get booked to do an event there.
Right.
So then I got booked at a festival there. And then Dan Holtzman from the Raspini Brothers, they said, hey, you know more people? I was like, yeah, you should book Dan Holtzman too. So then Dan from California, that I don't see that often, then he got booked. So we got to hang out in Korea together. Then Matt Baker was there. Then a couple other guys were there. And it was just great. And then the people that organize it, they just show you around town. I was like, yeah, so much better. I get paid. I got to do what I want to do.
Yeah. And
I have those people that pay me, show me around. And I was like, yeah, it's so much better. Like it's cool. And then the money from the gig is secondary, but you still get it. So it's great.
Right. You're getting paid to travel and have great experiences and all that.
Yeah. And also like the people like that do shows, like other entertainers, they're really passionate about what I do. So it's much more fun for me to be hanging around with passionate people than people like when you go to like my friends from college, very many of them, they just work in an office and they go, oh, I can't wait until Saturday.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, I was like, that's, so you're living 5 days out of the week. You're living those away. So you can really live for two days out of the week. I was like, that's terrible. Like, I was like, that doesn't sound like a fun life.
Yeah. Yeah, man, dude, your passion is contagious. People are going to be listening right now and be like, "This guy's got it." I thought this was the About to Break podcast. This guy's got it made. Has there been a time for you in this whole process where you've been like, where you've ever second guessed what you were doing or thought?
Oh, yeah, like 2 days ago.
That's amazing.
So, no, like all the time. Like I got like, so my latest project, it's really cool. So 2004, right? I came to the first time to the US.
Yeah.
So I met all those jugglers that work in cruise ships. So that set me off like a really cool path. But another thing that I saw was this juggling convention. It was at the Riviera Hotel in Las Vegas.
Okay, yep.
And Tommy Curtin, he was there too. And it was one dude, and he had like a really cool bottle-shaped juggling clubs.
Right.
And I was like, oh, these are really cool. I want to get them. It would be so great. And if I have a set of that for the theater restaurant in Rotterdam that I'm working at, it would be amazing. But like, it wasn't a prop builder, Stu Reynolds, and he made them out of fiberglass. And so he stopped making them, and there was only like a couple second hands. But like nobody wanted to give up his old set.
Right.
And but it kept stayed in my mind. And then later on, then I became friends with I got booked at a Boulder juggling convention.
Okay.
And then Cindy Marvel, she said like, yeah, I still have those old molds. They're like in my they're in my shed, like
had
or my storage unit.
The molds that they used to make them?
Yeah, the mold that those clubs were made of. So, and she was like, yeah, I don't know how to make them because my husband, he was going to do it, but like, then he got busy, never happened. So I was like, so that was one piece of information that was stored in my brain. Then 2004, and then I got this Comedy Barn gig, and then Tommy Curtin, he happens on to live like 2.5 hours from here, and he comes to Pigeon Forge twice a year because his wife does a craft show here. And then he comes to the Comedy Barn, and then I became friends with Tommy, and then I went to the Juggling Museum in Ohio that David Kane has, and I saw one of those clubs, so I just borrowed one of those clubs, and I remembered everything from my college degree, mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
And then it came about, it's like, oh, I think I can do this. I think I can recreate that product.
Wow.
So
man.
Then I started looking for a company, and then, another guy that wrote a book that I learned to juggle from, I'm friends with him too, because I met him at another juggling convention. So just cool with this juggling and entertainment community. Like it's big enough to do stuff, and it's small enough that you always have enough mutual friends, or like this guy that wrote this book, or like even Jeff McBride, you study his DVDs when you start out, and then he has his nightclub in Vegas, and he's very open with it. And then if you're a decent performer, he's generous enough to give you a spot so you can perform in Las Vegas in his nightclub. So like it's really cool that if you're really, if you're friendly and you just want to put in the energy,
right,
that you can become friends with all those guys. So for me, like all those pieces came together for that prop. And then Nick Lewin helped me connecting with his graphic designer to make up the labels. And so it's just kind of cool, like how all these friendships that you created in the last years came about. But then I ordered those clubs and I had them shipped to the US. So then a pallet came from the plastic factory in the Netherlands where I'm from.
Yeah,
so
how many clubs were you ordering?
So I ordered 300 fit on a pallet. So then I ordered 300. So then I have my living room full of setting of 300 juggling clubs. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, geez, like what I got myself into. Now I have to move 300 of those clubs. Like,
right.
I'm going to get enough orders. I'm going to being stuck with those juggling clubs just because I like those in 2004. Like, but now it's good. Like I already moved like 140 of them in half a week. So,
that's like, killer.
Like it's all the time. Like that's too, I think if your project that you take on in the beginning, if you go, for me, I feel like I need to be excited at the beginning. Yeah. And then thereafter, I need to go, like, oh, geez, this is kind of too big. I think I got myself into some trouble.
Right.
And then you get scared. And then out of that fear, then that fuels me with more energy. And then I put in all my energy, and that works.
Oh, that's good, man.
And then the end, it's okay. The same like coming here to the US. Like I saw the shows. I met a magician, Jessica Jane. Yep. And then we got together, and then we were together for quite a bit. And then I was like, so that all fueled, like that helped. Like with all that initial rush, I would not have enough energy and drive to make it happen. Because it's quite a big thing. And now it's going, and it's great.
That's so great, man. I know that you're very happy where you're at and your shows are going great and all of that. So this has nothing to do with where you're at right now, but I'm always curious what's next for you? You know, like do you have an ideal of where you want to be down the road or what the next move is? Do you have any concept of what that might be?
Yeah, I have a couple ideas. So so it's I still think it would be really cool to do a full theater show with juggling.
Yeah.
So it's just people like for some like with a cruise ship to go, okay, like we just need a variety, so we can have a juggler there for 45 minutes.
Right.
But like with magic, like you have all this different, you have close up, you have danger trick, you have illusions, you have so many different styles like card magic. With juggling, you have it too. And in the beginning, when I was a kid, I was pretty greedy for the juggling props. They had this catalog, and I just wanted everything in the catalog. But then I bought it, and then I started practicing with every prop. So right now, I can do pretty much every style of juggling that's out there. Yeah. So that gives me a good resource to pull from. And I think, so like if you look at a magic show, like a full-on magic show, like maybe they start with a little piece, like proof of skill.
Right. Yeah.
It could be like a card manipulation routine. So you go, okay, like, but same with juggling. So I just start with a juggling bit that people can see that you're actually good. And then you start with a bit like to connect with the crowd. And then you start maybe with a smaller bit, like an intimate bit. And then you do like a danger routine. So there's a certain build up that all the really good illusion shows pretty much follow.
Right.
And then, so like now knowing that, because I've been hanging with magicians so long and reading all those magic books. So I structured my cruise ship show that way too. But like now if I expand it, I'm pretty sure that I could do like a 75 to 90 minute juggling show.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like, oh gosh, he's just going to throw more stuff in the air.
Right. Because
look of contact juggling is so much different than like a Diabolo. Really, I have a really big Diabolo prop that is very, very rare that I found in an old book that I worked on. So like you have all this different stuff.
It's so much larger than the others, or
no, it's a different way. Like it's if you have a really big frame and you have like a bunch of strings, for example, 10 strings, and they're all like 3 or 4 inches apart, parallel to each other, and the entire frame is angled like on the for example 45-degree angle.
Okay.
And so if you throw your Diablo, your Chinese yo-yo, you throw it into that bed of strings.
Oh wow!
One is going to catch it, and it's going to bounce back. But if you put 2 opposite of each other, both under an angle, you can throw it in one, it bounces out of it, then it hits the other one, and the Diablo starts bouncing back and forth between the two of them.
Oh, that's crazy.
So that's really cool. So that's the size of an illusion.
Right.
Of a magic illusion. So if you do like a ball juggling routine first, that's what I do. And then I do talk with the crowd. Then I do a contact juggling routine, which is more small, so you can compare it more with like maybe a close-up effect. And then you do maybe your first audience bit. So maybe instead of like some magicians do like the instant magician bit, so I do like a plate spinning routine with the kid. So for the audience, you can still get the same result, the same experience to the crowd, but it's a juggling version. What magicians usually do for their illusion show, and that's how they can like a full show in a tourist town.
Yeah.
So I think it would be really, really cool if I can make it happen to eventually to have like a full one juggling variety show, and just to show people that it's possible. Because as I understand, like before Siegfried and Roy, nobody in Vegas was really doing magic shows, and now
it's true, man.
You had so many, so they were the first one, and somebody believed in it. With juggling, it's not really being done. Some people are doing a great job with theater shows and performing arts centers, but still, it's like they still need the corporate work to support those just to make it work, and that's all good. But I think it would be so cool just to prove like a producer to go, hey, it's more than just like for so long it has been a 7-minute act in a circus of a variety show.
Yep.
But it doesn't have to be. So I think that's more like a groundbreaking goal I still want to hit. And then further, the other stuff is right now, because I feel, especially in the US, you can be 40 and start doing that.
Right.
And it's not a problem. And I'm 33 now.
Yeah.
So right now, if possible, do the Comedy Barn, for for some more seasons, that would be great, because I like it here, and also gives me the stability to work on the other goals, to and also just like build my portfolio with stocks and all that stuff. So then at one point, if you do like your own show, it's more risk involved. But if you already have the portfolio behind you, that you go, okay, even if I break even for the next couple months, it's okay, because I don't need it. So and then building up this line of juggling products, because there's so many. I worked on the last 3 years. I published a lot of like historical juggling books, like about the history of juggling, with stuff, tricks and performers and from the past. But then going through all that old stuff, you also come across like a lot of juggling props and routines, and go, hey, this is cool. I think people nowadays will still go for it, but like it's just not available. So then the Bottle Clubs is one. I'm working on a couple other projects like that too. So then if I can stay here for a couple more years, that will give me the stability to set it up, to do the research, to order like prototypes and all that stuff, just to set it up. So then if you have that juggling production line company going, and then the shows, plus I'm doing 500 shows a year here. It's a great experience.
500 a year.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm doing sometimes 2 acts per show. So if I calculate, I'm like between the opening, intermission where I interact with the guest, and my 2 acts, I'm on stage for 45 to an hour every show. So it's like now summer season. So I'm in front of a crowd like an hour and a half to 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And it's a good place. And I was like, it's great. Like to work on your comedy, audience interaction. Like it's, as a performer, where can you get that much experience? It's almost nowhere. And it shows. Like I went back to Vegas a couple weeks ago just to see the shows, like Matt King, Wally Eastwood, all those guys. Like they have done well over 10,000 shows in their career. It shows. Like even those guys, I saw them in 2006 and I saw them now. I think they're better now than in 2006, and they're already fantastic in 2006. It's just like now they have probably 10,000 more shows under the belt. And they're even better.
If you look at a guy like Mac, like his show hasn't changed that much in the time that he's been there. He's added a couple bits in. So, but the differentiation is just the amount of shows. Like nothing makes you better than just doing it as much as you possibly can.
Like you have the same routines. I see it for myself, like the same juggling routine, just the 5-ball routine. It looks so much more interesting and better now than when I started here. And that's only 1,500 shows. If I can keep this going for another 1,500 shows or whatever here, like if you do cruise ships or corporate all the time, it's not possible to get that smoothness into your act.
Well, and there's that thing too, like, you know, if you're doing even if you're doing a few corporates a week, you get an idea and you're like, oh, I can't wait to try that. But 3 days from now, you have to wait to try it. Like
that's one. And the other hard thing I find with the corporates, like the group is different and the setup of the room is different. So I love it. Like at least with the cruise ships, it was people ate dinner. They're in a showroom, and the layout it's kind of similar all the time.
Yeah.
But the corporate, like the corporation, the business is different. This is different. Like so, you have so many different variables that you can control. And I love it. Like here, like the room is the same, and the audience is pretty much in the same mood. So if Joe works one time and the other, most likely it's me. But with corporate, if you do it a couple times a week, you don't know really, because it's a different environment.
Yeah, I'm leaving in 6 days to go do a 6-week run at Silver Dollar City in Branson.
Nice.
And I did a week there last year, and it was great. And the reason I took this long run is part of me is terrified because like I don't usually go that long in one place. I'm usually traveling around everywhere. But I'm so excited that, I mean, in 6 weeks, I'm going to do 144 shows.
Nice.
It's going to be insane. I'll be exhausted, but like, I just think like there's a couple newer bits that I know by the end of that run, I mean, a month and a half from now, they're going to be solid. You know, they're going to be something special. So yeah, I think it's a great privilege, man, to be able to be in the same place and to really hone. And like you said, when the environment doesn't change, then you know, okay, it was something I did or didn't do this time that made a different reaction.
Yep.
That's great, man. Well, dude, tell people how they can follow you. I want to know, how they can just follow your journey on the social media stuff. But I also want to know, like, if they're interested in some of these juggling props that you're putting together, or coming and seeing you at the Comedy Barn. Give us the plug. Let us know. How do we see Niels?
Cool. So like the different versions of me. So if you want to follow me as a juggler, just put in my name on Instagram or Facebook. That's Niels Duinker. That's NIELSDUINKER. And then for the juggling props that I'm working on, it's ndjuggling.com. So you can the bottle clubs, all kind of cool juggling books that never been published before. And the Comedy Barn Theater, it's a really fun show. And if you go to comedybarn.com, you can see about that show. And if you're in Tennessee, looking forward to meet you after the show.
That's awesome, man. Dude, I am so encouraged by what you shared here. I'm challenged to there's certain projects that I've been waiting for some reason. I have no reason to wait, but I've been waiting and making excuses on, and you've inspired me to push them forward. So
I feel the same. I have a couple projects laying around here that go, damn, I should get back at it. So I think it's normal.
Well, man, thank you for taking the time. I so appreciate you sharing your story and your heart, and we're stoked, man.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Best is ahead of you, buddy.
This is a blast. Thank you. Have a good day.